Kia ora, everyone. I'm Dr. Amelia Fraser, and if you're a bloke over 50 watching this right now, I need you to stop what you're doing and listen up. Because what I'm about to share with you could literally save your prostate, and I'm not being dramatic here. Look, I've been working as a GP here in New Zealand for over 15 years, and I've seen way too many good men come into my clinic with prostate issues that could have been prevented. And here's the thing that really gets me. More than half of you guys over 50 are dealing with some form of prostate problem right now. Whether it's just annoying symptoms like getting up 3 times a night to pee, or something more serious like an enlarged prostate, or even cancer. Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, another health video telling me I can't eat anything. But hear me out, because the 5 foods I'm going to talk about today aren't some weird exotic stuff. They're things most of you are eating every single day without realizing they're quietly messing with your prostate health. And trust me, making these changes is way easier than dealing with prostate problems down the track. So, grab a cuppa, get comfy, and let's dive into the 5 foods you need to ditch if you want to keep your prostate healthy. And stick around to the end, because I'm going to share what you should be eating instead. And it's actually pretty choice food, not rabbit food like you might think. Right, let's start with number 1. And this one's going to upset some of you Kiwi blokes who love your sausage sizzles and bacon buddies. Processed meats. Yeah, I'm talking about your bacon, salami, ham, hot dogs, and those delicious saveloys at the footy. I know. They're bloody delicious, and they're part of our culture, especially at BBQs and sports events. But here's the hard truth. These processed meats are absolutely terrible for your prostate. Now, why are they so bad? It all comes down to what's in them. Most processed meats contain nitrates and nitrites. These are preservatives that keep the meat looking nice and pink and stop bacteria from growing. The problem is, when these chemicals hit your digestive system, they can transform into compounds called nitrosamines, and these nasties are linked to cancer. Not good, eh? I've read countless studies on this, and one that really stuck with me was published in Cancer Epidemiology. It showed that men who regularly ate processed meat were significantly more likely to develop benign prostatic hyperplasia. That's BPH for short, which basically means an enlarged prostate. And once you've got that, you're looking at more trips to the loo, especially at night, difficulty starting to pee, and that annoying feeling that you never quite empty your bladder completely. But wait, there's more bad news. These processed meats are also packed with sodium. We're talking heaps of salt, and that excess sodium causes water retention, which makes those urinary symptoms even worse. Plus, the high saturated fat content promotes inflammation throughout your body, including in your prostate gland. Now, I can hear some of you saying, "But Doc, I can't give up my bacon." And look, I get it. I'm not going to tell you that you can never have a sausage sizzle at Bunnings ever again. But here's what I tell my patients. Make it occasional, not regular. Instead of having processed meat every day, maybe have it once a fortnight as a treat. What should you eat instead? Fresh, lean meats like chicken breast, turkey, or fish. If you're keen to try something different, give plant-based proteins a go. Things like lentils, beans, chickpeas, or even tofu. I know tofu gets a bad rap with some blokes, but chuck it in a good marinade and throw it on the barbie, and you won't even miss the sausages. Well, maybe a little bit. And if you absolutely must have deli meats, look for ones labelled nitrate-free or no added nitrates. They're becoming more common in our supermarkets now, which is sweet as. Right, moving on to number 2, excessive alcohol. Now, before you close this video and crack open a cold one, let me explain. I'm not saying you can't ever have a beer again. This is New Zealand, for Pete's sake. What I am saying is that overdoing it on the piss is really bad news for your prostate. And unfortunately, I see this a lot with Kiwi blokes. We've got a bit of a drinking culture here, and it's doing us no favours health-wise. Here's what happens when you drink too much, too often. Alcohol irritates your urinary tract, which means if you're already having prostate issues, the booze is going to make them worse. You'll be up even more during the night, and that burning or uncomfortable feeling when you pee. Yeah, alcohol makes that worse too. But it goes deeper than that. Heavy drinking messes with your hormones, and your prostate is really sensitive to hormonal changes. There's also evidence, and this comes from a big study out of Harvard University, that blokes who have more than 2 alcoholic drinks a day have a higher risk of developing aggressive prostate cancer. That's pretty bloody serious, eh? Now, I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about the occasional beer after mowing the lawns, or a glass of red with dinner. That's probably fine for most people. What I'm worried about is the guys who are having multiple drinks every single day, or the ones who go hard on the weekend binge sessions. So, what's the solution? Set yourself some realistic limits. If you're currently drinking every day, try having a few alcohol-free days each week. The Dry July campaign we have here in New Zealand is actually a great way to reset your relationship with alcohol, and you'll be raising money for cancer support while you're at it. Choice. When you do drink, alternate your alcoholic drinks with water. This helps you drink less overall and keeps you hydrated, which is better for your prostate and your whole body, really. And there are some pretty good alcohol-free beers and wines available now in New Zealand. Give them a crack. You might be surprised. Here's the thing. Cutting back on alcohol isn't just good for your prostate. You'll sleep better, you'll have more energy, you'll probably lose a bit of weight, and your mood will improve. I've had patients tell me that reducing their drinking was one of the best health decisions they ever made. So give it a go, mate. Alright, number 3. Full-fat dairy products. Now, I know some of you are going to struggle with this one because we Kiwis love our dairy. We're practically raised on milk, cheese and butter, and we've got some of the best dairy in the world right here. But here's the issue. Research suggests that high consumption of full-fat dairy, we're talking whole milk, regular cheese, butter, cream, might be linked to prostate problems. Now, the science on this isn't as clear-cut as it is for processed meat or alcohol, but there are some concerns worth paying attention to. Full-fat dairy is loaded with saturated fats, and these fats can promote low-level inflammation in your body. And as I keep saying, inflammation is bad news for your prostate. There's also some evidence that excessive calcium from dairy might actually lower your vitamin D levels, and vitamin D is crucial for regulating cell growth in your prostate. Now, before you panic and throw out all your cheese, let me say this. Moderation is key. You don't have to completely eliminate dairy from your diet. But if you're currently putting full cream milk in your coffee, having cheese on everything, and cooking with butter every day, it might be time to make some swaps. Try switching to trim or light milk, or give plant-based alternatives a go. We've got some great options here in New Zealand now. Almond milk, oat milk, soy milk. I reckon the oat milk is pretty good in coffee, actually. For cheese, go for reduced fat versions. Or just use less cheese, but choose a stronger flavoured one, so you still get that taste with less product. Greek yogurt is actually pretty good because it's high in probiotics, which are great for your gut health. Just choose the low-fat versions and avoid the ones with heaps of added sugar. And look, if you love your dairy and you're not ready to make big changes, at least try to balance it out with plenty of vegetables, fruits, and other healthy foods. It's all about the overall pattern of what you're eating, not just one food group. Now we're on to number 4, and this one might surprise some of you. Refined vegetable oils. I'm talking about corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil. The cheap stuff you find in most processed foods and that restaurants use for deep frying. These oils are absolutely everywhere in our food system. They're in your fish and chips, your takeaway meals, your biscuits, your salad dressings, you name it. And the problem is, they're loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6s aren't inherently bad. You actually need some of them. But most Kiwis are getting way too much omega-6 and not nearly enough omega-3. And this imbalance creates inflammation in your body. And what do we know about inflammation? It's terrible for your prostate. It can worsen symptoms of an enlarged prostate and potentially speed up the growth of abnormal cells. There's another issue with these refined oils. During processing, they lose most of their beneficial antioxidants and become prone to oxidation. When oils oxidize, they create free radicals in your body, which cause even more inflammation and cellular damage. A study published in the journal Prostate found that men with a poor ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids had a higher risk of prostate cancer. That's pretty concerning when you realize how much of these cheap oils we're all consuming without even thinking about it. So what should you use instead? Extra virgin olive oil is your best mate here. It's rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds, and it's great for cooking at lower temperatures and drizzling on salads. We can get some really good olive oil here in New Zealand now, including locally produced stuff, which is choice. For high heat cooking, like frying, avocado oil is excellent because it has a high smoke point and doesn't break down as easily. Yeah, it's a bit more expensive, but your prostate will thank you. And here's a tip. Increase your omega-3 intake to balance out the omega-6s you're inevitably getting. Eat more fish, especially fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. And snack on walnuts, chuck some ground flaxseed in your smoothies or on your porridge, and try chia seeds in your yogurt. Making these simple swaps can significantly reduce the inflammatory load on your prostate, and that's going to make a real difference to your health. Right, we've made it to number 5, and this is the big one, fellas. The most dangerous culprit on this list, refined sugar. And I'm not just talking about the sugar you spoon into your tea. I'm talking about all the hidden sugar in processed foods. Sugar is absolutely everywhere in our modern diet. It's in your fizzy drinks, obviously, but it's also hiding in bread, sauces, healthy breakfast cereals, flavoured yogurt, protein bars, and even some savoury foods. Most Kiwis are eating way more sugar than they realise, and it's wreaking havoc on their health, including their prostate. Here's why sugar is so bad. When you eat too much of it, it spikes your insulin levels, promotes chronic inflammation, and can lead to obesity. All 3 of these are direct risk factors for prostate enlargement and cancer. And here's something that really shocked me when I first learned it. Cancer cells feed on sugar. A study in cancer research found that high glucose environments can actually accelerate the growth of certain cancer cells, including prostate cancer cells. On top of that, constant blood sugar spikes and crashes mess with your hormone balance and weaken your body's natural defense systems. Your body just wasn't designed to handle the amount of sugar the average person eats today. Now, I know cutting back on sugar is easier said than done. We're basically hardwired to crave sweet stuff, and the food industry knows this and takes full advantage of it. But here's what you can do. Start reading food labels. You'll be gobsmacked at how many products contain sugar under sneaky names like fructose, dextrose, maltose, or corn syrup. If a product has any of those in the first few ingredients, put it back on the shelf. If you need something sweet, try natural alternatives like stevia or a small amount of raw honey. But even with these, use them in moderation. Better yet, train your taste buds to appreciate less sweetness. It takes a few weeks, but it does happen. Focus on eating whole foods, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, and whole grains. These naturally reduce your sugar intake because they don't have added sugars hiding in them. And when you do eat fruit, which contains natural sugars, at least you're also getting fibre, vitamins, and antioxidants along with it. Cutting back on refined sugar might be the single most effective thing you can do for your prostate health. I've had loads of patients tell me they have more energy, better weight management, and fewer urinary symptoms after reducing their sugar intake. Plus, your overall risk of metabolic problems like diabetes and heart disease drops too. It's win-win all around. Right, so we've covered the 5 foods to avoid: processed meats, excessive alcohol, full-fat dairy, refined vegetable oils, and refined sugar. But I don't want to just leave you with a list of what you can't eat. Let me quickly share what you should be eating to actively support your prostate health. First up, get into lycopene-rich foods. Tomatoes, watermelon, and grapefruit are packed with lycopene, which is an antioxidant that's been linked to prostate health. Some studies suggest high lycopene intake is associated with reduced prostate cancer risk. Eat your cruciferous vegetables. That's broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. These contain compounds that fight inflammation and help your body detoxify harmful substances. Include anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric and ginger in your cooking. Chuck them in your curries, soups, or even smoothies. They have powerful anti-inflammatory effects. Eat plenty of berries. They're loaded with antioxidants. And get those healthy omega-3 fats from fish, walnuts, flaxseed, and chia seeds, like I mentioned earlier. Look, I know this is a lot of information to take in, and making dietary changes isn't always easy, especially when it involves giving up foods you love. But here's what I tell my patients. You don't have to be perfect. Start with 1 or 2 changes and build from there. Maybe cut back on processed meats first, then tackle the sugar thing once that's become a habit. And please, if you're experiencing any prostate symptoms, difficulty urinating, frequent nighttime bathroom trips, pain or discomfort, don't just ignore it and hope it goes away. Come and see your GP. We can check what's going on and work out a plan together. Early detection and lifestyle changes can make a massive difference. I genuinely care about you guys staying healthy and avoiding preventable problems. Making these dietary changes now could save you from serious health issues down the track. Your prostate will thank you. Your partner will thank you for not getting up 5 times a night, and you'll feel better overall. If you found this helpful, share it with your mates, especially the ones over 50 who might need to hear this. And if you've got questions or want to share your own experience with making these changes, chuck a comment down below. I actually read them and I'll try to respond when I can. Kia kaha, everyone. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video where I'll be talking about the top foods that actually help protect and heal your prostate. You won't want to miss that one. Cheers!